Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with Spider.
Hello, everybody. Spidey here once again. Coming Soon podcast coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. Of course, being joined by director-writer Joanna Tsanis. And of course, we have actress and of course, director as well, Konstantina Mantelos. How are y'all doing today?
Very good. Thank you for having me.
And I think we have Adam jumping on. He's still waiting for video to come on, but once he gets on here, I'll go ahead and bring him on. But of course, right off the bat, I was able to watch a screening of the film. Of course, this is the KILLGRIN, which the poster is up there on the corner, and an emotional roller coaster. It grabbed me, and I think on the little description, I said, "Man, it grabbed me by the feet." I was on my toes, literally just waiting to see what happened next. It was well written, the lighting, the cinematography. There's some still shots from the movie that I actually saved, so I'm going to put them on here. Let me bring Adam on real quick. Here we go.
Yes, sorry, I was blocked.
No.
I accidentally did no, don't allow, and I was like, no.
Were you stuck in traffic? Because it's Friday, so people are trying to get home. But yes, guys, thank you for jumping on. It's definitely an honor. I'm grateful that you guys are able to jump on this and talk to me a little bit about this film, the project. The buildup as far as for one thing, I want you to ask, because it was filmed in Canada, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when it came to timing, how long did the film take to film?
It was a 16-day shoot. Really 15 days, because there were 2 unintentional half days, indie filmmaking troubles. But we did, it was a 16-day shoot, all weekdays. We managed to block off weekends, which was very nice for the cast and crew and myself.
Yes, I was going to say too, because I myself jump on indie films here, and it's always weekends, whenever people have time. So of course, we got to work during the week and, jump on projects.
When you have heavy subject matter like this, we want to let people have their weekends,
Yeah.
They can,
So some of us have lives, not all of us, but, some of us, want to do something on the weekend. And of course, like I was starting off to say, when I saw this film, it was captivating, the lighting, the cinematography, everything leading up to the end. It had me waiting and waiting to see what was going to happen next. So it was, it was emotional for me. I wanted to bring this up right off the bat because, of course, the movie itself, without giving too much away, there's, I guess I can say there's truth to it. The storyline, the fact that, we hold on to these emotions too long, that, they start taking over, and it's something that I grabbed from the film, because I always tell people, I've had 2, I guess, occasions, in life where, on one, I was so tired. I was literally working so much that I got home and I clearly saw an image in my room, and I got up, panicked, and it was just like when you're most vulnerable that you start seeing things, you start hearing things. And that was something that this film reminded me of. It was just, something for us to take control over, emotions. A lot of us deal with stress, with depression, with, everyday life. But at the end of the day, it's like, we need to let a lot of things slide. We shouldn't be holding on to things we can't control. And, this movie was a reminder. So I said, okay, you know what, I got to let a few things go in life. But well written. So, congratulations on that. Now, the film itself is going to be dropping this month, correct?
Yes, April 25th is the release. It'll be releasing on digital and in select theaters. So you can follow Dark Sky Films social media, and they'll be able to tell you. And then as more opportunities to see it come up, they'll be sharing that as well afterwards.
No, for sure. And I'm hoping it goes to theaters. This is definitely one I would want to see on the big screen. So yes, for those that are watching, following along, go check it out when it drops. Now, I'm going to go down as far as different questions. Adam, of course, going into this film, the past projects that you've done, what was, for yourself, was there something different about the script, the film, that made you want to jump on it?
I think, this film is obviously very dark and very, brooding and heavy. But to me, it was a rom-com. It was a guy who's in love with a girl, wanting her to pay him attention, to give him a moment, to give him her number, to go on a date, to have a drink. Mario.
Yes,
That's what it was for me. And so we can all identify with that.
Oh, yes.
And we can all identify with failing at that. Maybe, I don't know. Don't want to spoil, but yeah, I think I think it's a fun. I think in a lot of the work that I do, I'm always trying to find the comedy. And you hear that? What is that? Is that
It's a KILLGRIN.
Yeah, that was weird. It was like an off gas. It was like opening a mattress, and then you cut in. So yeah, I always try to find comedic moments, even in dramas and horrors. I think it's I don't know. I think humans naturally do that. It reminds me of like in theater, Chekhov, which all of his plays are very, very brooding, very sad. Everyone wants to kill themselves. But when humans talk about that kind of thing, you don't say like, oh, "I'm sad, I'm terrible." It's more like, "Yeah, life sucks, right? I wish I could just blow my brains out." Like that's how people talk about it. And there's some like sort of a comedic way of connecting with others, in sharing sadness, finding community in sadness, which a lot of this film is about.
No, for sure. I mean, your character definitely brought a lot of humor into it. It had those moments where yeah, you could not but fall in love with the guy, you sympathize because, of course, being a guy, I said, hey, that was me like back in the '90s. I mean, I think we've been there, but yeah, you definitely brought that character to life. It definitely added to the film. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, Joanna, was that something that you were looking for in that character?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with a film with such heavy subject matter, and also with horror in general, you need that levity. You need those breaths in between to give the audience a break once in a while. And as Adam said, in terms of people struggling with their internal struggles and with mental health issues, we do often use humor to cope and to support each other. And so I think having all these different characters in the film that are dealing with their internal struggles in very different ways. We have Konstantina's character who has her way of dealing with it. And then we have Adam's character who seems to just want to distract himself all the time by constantly just having fun with people. I mean, everyone has their own way of coping. So I thought it was important to have different characters have different ways of conveying that.
No, I mean, that's holds truth. I mean, myself, I laugh at pretty much everything in life. I mean, I take life seriously, of course, when it comes to what I'm dealing with or work, especially. But I mean, people always tell me like, man, you always have a comeback, and it's because for me, like, I mean, life's too short. I turned 50 last year, and for me now, I tell people I'm counting down. So this year I'll be 49 and then 48, of course, but yeah, it's just, I mean, I gotta have life. I personally lost my mom last year, and the other day actually I had a dream that, I mean, she was in my dream and I went to go visit her, and it was just like an everyday life. And I woke up smiling because I was like, man, you know what? There's a lot of, I got to tell her I love you before I left, and it's just being able to see her again. But at the same time, it's just like, you can't take everything seriously. I mean, there's so many fights out there. If you battle everything in life, you're never going to stop fighting, So for me, it's just like, I want to be happy. I want to, of course, I go to work. Outside of work, I want to have fun, jump on films, jump on projects, talk to great people like yourselves and keep going, So yes, of course, Adam, I mean, you killed it. I mean, that character, I mean, like I said, I did relate to it. And, I'm glad that's what she was looking for, when it comes to the director. So that was perfect. And Konstantina, I mean, of course, your character, it was one of those where, I don't want to say I sympathize, because at the beginning I wasn't sure what all she was going through in life, in the movie. But towards the beginning, I mean, of course, you shutting down my man Adam over here, broke my heart.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, I said, you know what? I did look up, and of course, you did go to school for. I think it was in New York City.
Yeah, I trained at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, as well as in Toronto at the Toronto Metropolitan School of Performance. Yeah.
You see, and the reason I'm asking is because in your character, I think your facial expression said a lot. Like, you didn't have to say too much for people to be able to relate. So you
Thank you.
touched that without even a lot of words. So I mean, just watching, I think there's a still shot that I saved because I mean, this was in the film. I'm gonna post it real quick, but this right here. This.
Yeah.
I mean, it says a lot, you know. And I mean,
Dark Sky's been using that one a lot.
It's
but
oh my
but
God, Adam is asking for my number again.
but you know, but it's just those moments in the film that I was like, man, like, you know what? There was a lot of emotions. There was a lot going through, and just watching you push that through your character. Great job. You know, so you
Thank you.
definitely, you know, also great performance. And I was going to ask because of course, going to school. Was that something that you learned in theater? I mean, when you were taking classes to be able to, you know, put yourself
Oh,
in that.
well, I feel like, I've done, I had my kind of theater school training, and ever since then I've, trained at like various studios and whatnot in Toronto over the years, as well as sort of just learning as you go on set and everything. And I think for me, like, especially working on camera, there's a lot about finding the internal journey for the character, um, understanding what is going on for her, understanding the motives of why she's doing what she's doing, and exploring the ways that I can internalize that and relate that to myself. And then when you kind of do that work, you don't then have to you don't then have to do a lot. You don't have to show a lot, because especially for a character like Miranda, a person like Miranda, um, she's not an outwardly showy and expressive person. I think it's something that ends up like drawing her a little bit to Adam's character, despite her despite her reservations. um you know he does manage to like make her laugh. He does manage to kind of break through the kind of hard exterior, because she kind of she's desperately looking for answers throughout the film. She's desperately looking to help herself, but she does keep it all kind of like bottled up. She doesn't really ask for help necessarily. She sort of goes out and seeks these attempts to try and sort it out herself. And I think a lot of that comes obviously from her character, like trying to she's persistently a caregiver for other people, particularly these other relationships in her life. And I think that has made her kind of want to keep it all in and kind of bottle it up, and because she's got to be strong for these other people.
No, no, and let me ask you because, of course, I mean, you've done tons of projects. You know, when it comes to film, is there some characters from past films that you kind of use to promote, like push this one?
Not necessarily. I did pull a lot from. I had a really amazing experience. A previous horror film that I worked on was this film "Anything for Jackson," by Justin G. Dick, really fantastic director. And he gave me an opportunity to play a pretty prominent role in this film, and and that was kind of my first experience in like an indie horror feature. And that was a really cool experience, and I do feel like really kind of primed me for some aspects of this film. In that film, I play a woman who's been kidnapped, and she's sort of tied to a bed, and these horrific ghostly things start happening around her, and she cannot run away or escape them, and is sort of just having to receive and respond. And that that really kind of gave me the experience in a horror environment to kind of bring that to the KILLGRIN. And there's sort of differences between those two characters, is that Miranda in the KILLGRIN kind of gets to go and gets to try and face the thing. It was an interesting translation for me, figuring out how she does that.
No, no, for sure. You know, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, the film itself, the ending got me. You know, I was like, damn. And I said, okay, you know, I can't wait for people to see the whole film, of course. But the ending definitely says a lot, you know. And I mean, that's something that I wasn't expecting, but it was great, you know. So I mean, of course, you know, being an actor, I mean, here locally, you know, I do jump on a lot of short films. You know, the scripts I get aren't long. I mean, I'm not there yet. I'm still working my way up, of course. But there's always something that I bring personal. I always kind of make the scripts my own, and I become that person. Now, I mean, of course, Joanna, you wrote the scripts, but you know, I'm gonna ask the actors, of course, when they came to the scripts, was there something that you added to it that she was okay with?
Ooh, added to it. I'm trying to. There is a particular moment. It was a really fantastic moment when I was working with one of our other characters, played by Cristo Fernandez. We have a bit of a confrontation scene at some point. I won't expose too much, but we had done the take a couple times, and we'd gotten a little bit of direction, and he kind of just leaned in and kind of whispered to me, like, can you say this to me? Like, gave me some, like, he's like, can you say this to me? And then I'm going to say this, and then we'll just roll with the scene. And like, Joanna had no idea. And we just like went with it. And it ended up, and she was just like, okay, that was easy. And she's like, maybe we can find like a middle ground between this thing and that thing, because it really gave me a new kind of drive. I was so thankful to him for having this idea, because it just changed it up for us, you know. And then that's what made it into the movie. So
it was funny when they did that. Me and the script supervisor, Hilda, she's amazing. We both just were like trying not to laugh, because it was kind of a funny moment. We were not expecting it at all. And then I went over to them and I'm like, you guys, what's going on?
Stick to the words. I slaved over these words.
But I always, the collaboration's always fun, for sure.
No. And of course, Adam, did you have any moments like that?
I don't remember having moments like that. I have like a weird, like, for me, often I really try to like do exactly what's on the page, because, well, Joanna threatened to break my legs if I didn't do it. That was one thing. But despite that, I feel like there's a, we hear as actors, like, sometimes you work, and Joanna's not this kind of person. She's obviously very collaborative, very happy to take ideas and stuff. But like, that some writers are very meticulous about what they write, and really have thought about every ellipses, every comma, every period. And sometimes as an actor, you're reading and you're like, this doesn't flow. It's like, I can't really say this.
Or like jive with my way of speaking.
Yes. But I still want to be truthful to it. So I always try to just like, okay, well, I'll try. I'll pause here. I'll and so I can't specifically remember adding it.
Okay, wait, but if I may,
yes,
there was some amazing improvisation. There's a scene where Adam and I are drunk, and we were we're getting drunker and drunker throughout the night, and we were asked, because it's sort of quick cuts and stuff like that, and we were sort of asked, to just sort of improvise some scenes as the night progresses. And Adam's the apartment of his character is coated in these sort of magazine images from fictional horror films and a whole bunch of things that just don't exist, and monsters and things. And I want to see the movies that Adam pitched in those sessions, because he would just go up to a particular poster and start describing what the story of this creature was. And there were these like elaborate stories that totally cracked me up. And I remember being so intimidated, because I was like, I can't match this level of improvisation.
Well, you know what's crazy? I have no recollection of that. You're telling me this, and I'm like, really? I did that? I don't remember that at all. That's crazy.
I think we just gave you guys absinthe shots, and we're like, okay,
you actually put the absinthe in there.
just go talk.
I was gonna say, you're gonna have to watch the film with the rest of us later this month, man. But of course, I mean, it was a fun film. I mean, the storyline, of course, was very serious, but I mean, obviously, you guys had a great time making it.
Yeah, definitely. It's important to have a positive vibe on set when you're dealing with this heavy subject matter and scaring people and monsters. And it was a lot of fun. We were very fortunate with a really positive, really talented cast and crew, which always a joy to work with that in that environment.
No, and I gotta ask you, I mean, of course, being the writer, I mean, when was it that you had this idea to start writing this film?
It was. I had the idea in 2020. I think it was during the pandemic, and just kind of reflecting on the various ways people self-soothe and make sense of their internal struggles. And that's when I kind of started slowly workshopping this. And then in terms of when I finished it, it was 2021 at a hotel at Siege's Film Festival when I was playing the short film with that Konstantina was in, and I finished the first draft in that hotel room, which was kind of.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's really cool. What a cool flex story.
Yes.
You're at a film festival and you're still working on another movie. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this though. I mean, was that when you were writing that? Were you already thinking of Konstantina playing the character?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Did you know about that?
You know, it was this kind of like, there were always kind of hints that, maybe I would get to be a part of it. But the producers held on to the last second before I finally got the official, like, okay, it's you. It was a really special phone call for me. I was very excited about the project, and I had loved working with Joanna on the short. And when I heard that she was developing it into a feature, and I got to see a little bit of it, I just loved the character. Every now and then, actors, we either get auditions or we get to see scripts and stuff that sometimes it just feels like it sits, it just feels like I know exactly like where this person is coming from. I know what's going on for them. I know what's driving them. And, I felt that significantly with Miranda. Yeah. So it was very special for me.
Nice. And of course, let me ask you this, because when it comes to jumping on films, and of course, this is for everybody, what is it that's like a selling point? I mean, of course, the script, but I mean, is it much more than that? Like when picking up an acting gig?
One thing that's really exciting for me, and I really truly hope that I get to have this throughout my entire career, is working with directors and writers who really care about what they're doing. It was an incredibly special thing for me, knowing that this was Joanna's first feature, that she cared about this project as much as I did. To work with directors and writers who are like very passionate about what the stories they're telling, and are really telling it for a reason, and there's maybe a personal element to it, or they're excited and they have a vision, and if I can get on board for that vision, then that's the kind of lifelong collaboration I want to be a part of.
No, for sure. And of course, Adam, what about yourself?
Yeah, actually, me and Joanna had a great time at Comic-Con before the movie, and I don't know, we bonded, and like I got excited about the project, and I got excited about her passion for the project, and I feel like that was a big, I don't know, like not turning point, but big experience, which like really pushed our relationship in this project forward.
Yeah.
No.
And
of
maybe
course,
a KILLGRIN comic book could be in the works if we return to Comic-Con.
man, that would actually be pretty cool. You see, and I actually have this other still shot that I saved from. Let me see if it'll come out. This one right here. Look at that wall, man.
Those are the posters.
There's those posters.
So we'll have to come back and see where you came up with all those lines, for other descriptions.
I want to see. I honestly don't remember that.
I want the shots that didn't make it into the movie. I want the blooper reel at the end, like at the end of Spice World,
You see, and that's one of the things, because even jumping on films here, I do a lot of BTS, so I do photos, I do video.
Cool.
And yeah, and I enjoy it. I mean, I actually cover combat sports. I've been doing that for combat sports since like 2000, for MMA, boxing, and everything else. But my thing was always capturing those moments where people aren't looking. I mean, of course, I would go in the room where everybody's getting wrapped up and getting ready, and I'm just like, hey guys, I'm going to be taking photos. I said, don't mind me. And everybody's concentrating, getting in on that zone, to go fight. So I'm capturing moments, and it's not till after the fight that. I send them pictures, and they're like, dude, like I had no idea you were standing there. Like, I mean, and you could see it, their whole mindset, they're zoned out, getting ready. And And that's the same thing that I get with the I mean, like just the still shots that I got, you know, I mean, because of course you guys were in the middle of a scene, so you know it's just the emotions go through it, and it's just overwhelming. But yeah, you know, who was it that took the photos, or are those actually part of the film?
I think a lot of these are part of the film, but we did have a BTS photographer, a couple of them, but the main BTS photographer, his name is Daniel Wan, and he was really fantastic. And he actually came to our premiere at Film Quest, which was awesome. And
Right.
yeah.
And of course, I mean, what is some of the feedback that you guys have been getting about this film?
Well, I think a lot of people, one thing that surprised me is I've had a few people tell me that they're not big horror people, but they enjoyed the film, which I was very surprised. First, I was like, why did you watch this movie? Haven't you seen the poster? Haven't you hear it was a monster movie? Didn't you watch the trailer? But they were saying that they really enjoyed the dramatic and the comedic aspects of it, and they really liked the yeah, and they liked the characters. So that was a surprising bit of feedback I got. But yeah, we've heard from a lot of people that they love the creature, and they a lot of love for Brian, who for sure, who
Especially by
not
Konstantina
love
with her
from
frozen
Miranda.
smile right now. Oh, there you go.
I really hope that wasn't frozen in a very embarrassing way.
No,
No,
it was a
it
good
was
way.
actually it was a good
Very
one.
positive. Very.
And I was gonna say too, because I mean, I think a lot of guys that are gonna watch this film are gonna, you know, they're gonna relate to Adam, you know, to his character, and kind of cheer him on, you know. So of course, I mean, it was a great film. I mean, the storyline was great. The chemistry. I mean, of course, you guys. I mean, when it comes to Adam and Konstantina, have you guys worked prior together?
No, we actually we met on the set. But I have to say, it speaks to our energy. It speaks to Joanna's ability to balance comedy and very serious topics. I just love the same way that the characters are sort of contrasting. I feel like Adam and I are a little bit like that. Sometimes I take things like just a little too seriously, and try to intellectualize things and analyze things. And Adam, yeah, I mean, we've been talking to him for an hour or half an hour here. It's a bit of a joker, and he just brought, he brought this like levity to set. He brought this. There were like some days where I was kind of alone on set doing some of my solo shots and things like that, and then like Adam would come in, and I remember actually. I felt like for some days, that I was kind of like the main character in the video game, and all these other actors were like these NPCs that it was like a new person every day bringing like a new energy that would have like their day on set that I would interact with. But Adam, he had shot with us at the beginning of the shoot, and then he came back later for some shots at the end. And I remember it just like in the movie, the way he's kind of this comfort. I remember I felt this kind of sense of comfort because I was like, oh, my guy is back, like
I already beat this level, so I get to do the level again.
I know all the tricks.
Yeah.
No. You see, and I mean, you brought up Joanna. You brought up the comic book, but I mean, this would actually make a game. I mean, this is something like going through different levels. I mean, the creature on this, of course, man, that was a twist. That was something I was like, wow. Like, I mean, of course, teasing everybody through the film, you can't really see who it is, and then towards the end, you get to see it, and you're kind of, wish you hadn't, because it is pretty gruesome, But who was the person responsible for that?
So the creature was fully practical. It was built by the Butcher Shop Practical Effects Studio, a really incredible Canadian studio. And the creature designer who I worked with to develop the creature was Adrian Bob, who was also the VFX supervisor for some of the supplemental VFX for some of the effects, but for some of like the kind of gimmicky effects. But in terms of the actual creature, that was just fully practical. Leland Tilden was the creature actor, fantastic performer, and we all owe a lot to him wearing a full body suit for those long days. And Yeah, and it was very cool developing the creature. I mean, when I first spoke to the creature designer, I talked about how I wanted it to be something that the audience feared but pitied at the same time, because it was born from pain, so it's always in pain. And we kind of developed it from there. And yeah, and it turned out great. I mean, I was very fortunate to have such a talented team and a talented sound designer, because that it all kind of came together. We really had this kind of monster Avengers team that really brought it to life.
Were you
Yeah.
like more? I want more eyeballs, more teeth, more.
More it needs more slime. It was I mean,
my favorite thing. Okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but my favorite thing was, the thing has like, it kind of shit, like, it's icky. And there was like a guy from the butcher shop team whose job it was to like spritz this thing, like spritz the suit with water frequently, so that it would kind of always be sort of slimy looking.
It was funny seeing on one side of the set, like the makeup artist beautifying an actor, and on the other side, they're like, add more slime and just throw more slime on a monster. It was funny, that dichotomy.
Man, and of course, I mean, I'm sure there's BTS, photos out there. We'll definitely be looking forward to. Now, this is a question. It's a random question, because it's I mean, Instagram's been getting this image where you can make your own toy, like a 90s. You come out like in a back card. And my question is this: if you guys were action figures, what one accessory would you guys come with?
Oh.
Oh my
god. Action figures. A mirror.
There you go. There you go.
Mr. That's gonna be my character, Mr. Vane, and I'm gonna have a mirror always.
I always had like this sort of like Xena warrior princess Artemis kind of fantasy growing up as a kid. So like, I feel like a bow and arrow I would absolutely love.
Sweet. Okay, I can see that.
I'd say a broadsword.
I like it.
There you go.
Either that or like a lipstick that you open it from the bottom and it's a knife or something.
Oh, that's cool.
See, that's not a bad idea though. That's
Oh,
actually
man,
pretty
I'm
cool.
fucked with my mirror. I have nothing.
Wait,
Hold on. Don't stab me with your broadsword or cut my head off.
Man, and of course, I gotta ask you, because this
What's
film.
yours, Mario?
I'm sorry.
What's your accessory?
Man, for me, it would actually have to be one of those beard brushes, because I don't know where mine is. I lost it somewhere, so yeah, I definitely have to buy me another one and put one in there with me. But that's probably be it. I'd be in the same mind as you. You're with the mirror, here I am with my brush, man. We'd have them for defense,
That's right, exactly.
Now, I gotta ask, when it comes to the music, the soundtrack, what was it that you were looking for the film? And I mean, when was it that you when did you find it? I mean, how did you come about finding that?
It was interesting. Like initially I had a lot of like heavy metal in my mind, but then as we developed it with the composer, and as the which really didn't happen until after the film, when we brought on a composer, which it's different when you work that way. When you bring on a composer after you, it's very common in indie low budget films, because then you're kind of looking at the edit and it completely changes your initial vision, which my initial vision was very just like get in your chest heavy metal. And then I ended up kind of turning it more into this kind of eerie, nightmarish feel. And and I was very, we had Charlie Sun was the composer, and there were a couple composers, and we were very fortunate to work with them. They did a great job.
No, and of course, I mean, being an indie film, is the soundtrack available out there for everybody? Is there something you guys are going to be selling as well?
I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see. But I know in addition to the wonderful score that was created from our composers, we also had some songs in there. A song from a Canadian band, Mono Whales, headed by Sally Shar, and that was in the the Brian Miranda scene when they were having fun, and then a couple from a Canadian band, Silvertone Hills. We had some of those songs too, but it was mostly score. But it was cool to have some songs in there as well.
No, for sure. And I mean, being indie, I mean, I actually cover a lot of indie music and indie films. So my thing is to be able to one day actually marry both and find somebody a song from somebody I interviewed. So we'll see. I'll keep pushing for that this year. You
Yeah,
know, but
and I'll mention the composers. It's Nima Fakara and Charlie Sun. Those are the composers who worked
no,
together, and they really did a phenomenal job.
no, they did. Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's one of the things that I always look for. You know, I mean, of course, among other, but I mean, music for me is real big. I always tell people, you know, growing up, I mean, in the '80s, for me, it was metal and punk rock because, of course, everything, you know, back then, everything was, you know, one of the two. But yeah, but of course, when it comes to soundtrack, like you said, I mean, it wasn't until you guys were done that you actually had to find something because I mean, it would change the theme. I mean, for me, it would change a lot of the movie if, say, if you would have used heavy metal, it would have been a whole lot different,
Mhm.
you know. So the fact that you used what you did, you know, actually went well, you know.
Mhm.
And this is one of the things I was going to ask you because when you were writing this, you had said, I mean, of course, you finished it. You started during COVID, you know, 2020.
Mhm.
But when you were writing, I mean, did you change a lot towards the end? I mean, was there something that you were going for? Was it more drama than it turned horror, or vice versa?
Yeah, a lot changed. The original script was very Sam Raimi. It was very horror comedy, and then ultimately the core subject matter and the story seemed like it called for a little more balance. So then I kind of was pulling away some comedy, but still keeping that levity in. There were other characters that were going to bring comedy to the film as well, but we ended up kind of toning them down, turning them to more dramatic characters, and leaving the levity mainly with Adam's character Brian, which I think ended up working out very well. And it's interesting what Konstantina said about even his presence on set. It was like a comfort, just the same way he's kind of a comfort to the audiences. So yeah.
Nice, nice. There you go, Adam. You know, you can keep that brush. You know, you're good. You're good.
He doesn't need anything else.
No, he's got it. He's got it. And of course, I mean, I got to ask. I mean, is there a sequel to this? Is there? Are you
Good
writing
question,
anything?
Mario. Good question.
We've talked about the musical, we've talked about the prequel, we've talked about all kinds of aspect, all kinds of things have been thrown out there. The comic book, the
Yeah.
miniature, but
We've
yeah, I
not
mean,
talked about the play.
we haven't talked about the play, the one man show starring the KILLGRIN. But yeah, I mean, even just working with this cast and the crew and all the whole team and the monster team, it was so fantastic. So whether it's a sequel for KILLGRIN or it's a whole other project, we would I think it would be great for us all to get the team back together for another spooky horror project for sure.
No, no, definitely, and that's one of the things that I enjoy because I mean, of course, watching films, you know, being indie, I don't want to say indie actors, but just being actors. I mean, of course, you're always looking for different projects, different, you know, films, shorts to jump on. But for you guys to be able to keep working together and just keep building up that relationship where you know you can kind of see because I mean that's why I had asked earlier if you know Adam and Constantina if you guys had known each other prior because the chemistry was there. You know, I mean, let me say this: I don't know if it was because of the whole you kind of turning them down every time. But I mean, it was natural. I mean, I don't I don't know, but it just seemed like I mean, okay, these guys
Makes sense.
are good
Makes sense.
friends, you know. I mean, but yeah, I mean, that was great. You know, you guys definitely did a great job because I thought you know I thought you guys had known each other or actually worked prior, so that's pretty cool.
Thank
Now,
you.
Thank you.
now let me ask. Everything was filmed in Canada. I mean, is everybody in Canada? I know Joanna said she was, or is everybody
Yes,
else at?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm in
Okay.
Canada too. Yeah, we're all in Canada.
Okay, and the reason I was asking was because Joanna, I know I've had other guests where they tell me like during COVID, of course, they couldn't fly outside the country, so
Mhm.
everything had to. A lot of them had to wait and just kind of sit around, and there's nothing. During that time, I mean, did you see an increase of like maybe studios or just filmmakers saying like, you know what, let's just start filming here?
Um, Not sure. You know, a lot of films do shoot in Canada just because of it's cheaper to shoot in Canada, and because Canada's got lots of great crew. It's got lots of great resources, lots of great actors, and yeah, and there's also some tax rebate programs that a lot of American production companies take advantage of. In terms of during COVID, yeah, filming. There, I'm not sure. I guess that would be a better question for the actors if you found where was there more or less opportunities in
Yeah,
terms of filming in Canada.
and guys, what do y'all say?
I mean, I was fortunate at the time because I had a job, so there was more about the COVID like there were very intense protocols, but and it was really for actors that did not have a consistent job. It was like constant terror about booking a job and then getting COVID before
Oh
you
God,
shoot
yeah.
and then being fired. So like I had friends who were just like they despite the danger of COVID, okay, that's one thing, but I'm just saying like just like, okay, I think I got this job. I literally can't leave my house now because I don't want to like risk anything to potentially lose it. Um, that was, yeah, I think the biggest
Yeah.
sort of concern for actors.
You see, and fun fact, I mean, not that it's any fun, but I mean, when everything happened, I mean, of course, here in San Antonio, the lady or those three individuals that were held at our Air Force base, one of the ladies got out, went to the mall, turned out she was positive, and then after that, like everything started shutting down. So unfortunately, it started here in San Antonio, but when it did, yeah, it was for us, it was like literally like everybody else, the rest of the world. It was like from one day to the next, it's like, okay, you can't go nowhere, you got to do this. Going inside buildings, you have to wear masks. You have to. I mean, it was just it was surreal. I mean, I know a lot of businesses. I mean, a lot of lives were lost. Businesses were shut down. Our economy here in Texas, I think, from the same way it came about, it happened in reverse, because it was like one day our state governor was just like, "Hey, we're going to open up tomorrow. Like we have to. Like everybody's losing jobs. We're losing. People are closing, and it just like that. We were like, okay, everything's back to normal. I mean, of course, a lot of people still took precautions. I mean, of course, but it was one of those things where, just like in a film, because I've seen the virus. I mean, there's so many I can name that it's just like, wow, like, what, I've seen this, like, I don't know how many times in movies, and now it's happening for real. So that was a horror
Yeah,
film within itself. It's pretty bad.
totally.
Recently, I was looking back and really just like thinking about like I'm amazed that we even did manage to like get on set the way we did. I look back at those days of like every day you'd show up to work and you'd do a test, and everybody's masked, and if you're acting, you're masked until like the moment when they call action, and then you take your mask off, and like it was a very like a testament to how much everyone wanted to be still doing it, that they decided to go through all these steps and precautions to try and make it happen. I think we did see an interesting little influx of like sort of independent projects, because Canada does have a lot of American shows and things that come up here to shoot with our crews, and in our locations and stuff like that. But at that time, everything was so up in the air. And so when I was getting my auditions and stuff, it was sometimes quite exciting to see, particularly a lot of sort of like indie horror films that were just sort of like managed to scrape together some local funding, and were able to keep these kind of interesting contained sets, because they're just like tiny crews and tiny amounts of actors and stuff like that. So there was like a small influx of that was kind of cool to see.
No, for sure. I mean, like, for me, I think it was. I'm still a contract delivery driver. I mean, I deliver furniture, not full time, but I mean, I do that on the side. But I mean, during COVID, it was one of those things where I had the DM, the district manager, call me on his phone, and he's like, "Hey, this is Mr. Miller," and I'm like, "Who?" And he's the DM, right? I mean, I knew the guy, but he'd never called me. But he was like, "Hey, are you still working?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." I said, "Not unless I'm getting fired." And he's like, "No. Like, the other two companies, they're not going to work for another 30 days, man. Like, I have all this furniture. Like, people are still buying it. Like, I need to deliver it." Um, I said, "Yeah, I'm still on." So I was busy the whole time during COVID, man. I took precautions. I mean, of course, I wore a mask. A lot of times I had to leave furniture outside, and customers had to take it inside their home. But like, Konstantina had mentioned, I mean, it was something that was surreal, because you kind of had to, like, do everything differently. I mean, it wasn't until after COVID. I mean, of course, it was a while before I stopped wearing a mask going inside people's houses, because I was like, even then, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to risk it. I don't want to stop working. I want to stay employed, of course, and keep making money. But yeah, it was just one of those things. I mean, it was nightmarish, and hopefully, we're over that, and it's gone. Hopefully. But yes, but of course, I did promise Dark Films I'd do a 45-minute mark. We're down to a minute. My last question, of course, I mean, this film is going to be coming out. For everybody, follow Dark Sky Films, of course, for dates, releases, and where the theaters are going to be at. right at the bat, if there anything you guys want to say individually, anybody you want to thank?
I have a question. Why is your middle name Spider?
Actually, it came from jiu-jitsu. I'm actually a Brazilian
Oh,
jiu-jitsu. I don't want to say specialist, but I've trained. And one day I was actually training with Professor Carlos Machado in Dallas, who's still out there. And after rolling with him, and I was all over the place, literally. I was doing cartwheel, guard passes, you name it. He says, "Hey, you're like a spider. You got 8 limbs." And so I kept it. That was my nickname,
that's
during
great.
jiu-jitsu. And so I just kept it with me. So it's there. It's fun.
Well, speaking of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, we're actually going to be showing in Brazil for our Latin American premiere
Nice
on
segue, Konstantina.
April 20th, I want to say. So for folks in Porto Alegre at Fantaspoa, we're going to be showing. So, if there's anyone out there
Cool,
watching,
cool.
come check it out.
Yeah. And Constantina will be there.
Yeah.
Oh, you
okay,
will?
really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Very much looking forward to it. First time to Brazil, so.
Wow.
I know I've never been. I've actually had 2 opportunities to go out there, and both times I didn't take them, so that's my loss. But yeah, that's pretty cool though, man. Definitely safe travels.
Thank
But
you.
guys, I want to thank you all. Of course, Joanna, thank you for directing and writing. Konstantina, of course, great past work with all the indie films, short films, everything you've done. Adam, my man, we got your back. You and that mirror. We're gonna keep rooting
Russian
for you, man.
mirror, baby.
No, but I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Don't hang up yet. Everybody out there, of course, make sure and follow Dark Sky Films. As always, this is Spider coming soon podcast. Till next time.